Welcome to the tomato greenhouse. Today we'll be learning how to pollinate tomatoes. Here we have our crossing box. We have fine point tweezers, a pencil, 70% rubbing alcohol, and tags. Now back to the tomatoes. Here is a tomato inflorescence. Flowers toward the main stem will develop into fruit first, with the flowers at the tip of the inflorescence developing last. Here we have immature fruits developing, with some flowers at the end. You will want to look for an inflorescence, ideally without developing fruits, and with an array of flowers in various stages of maturity. Here we have an inflorescence with just flowers. You'll want to first identify closed flowers for pollination, which, as you can see here, are located at the tip of the inflorescence. These will be your fruit-bearing parents. Then you'll want to find open flowers to be your pollen-bearing parent. Those can be seen here at the top, closer to the main stem of the tomato. First, we'll remove the spent flowers and already developing fruit from the inflorescence. Now we have isolated our fruit-bearing parent. This flower is not open, but is mature enough where the petals have begun to yellow. First, we'll remove the sepals, petals, and anther cone. Now we just have the stigma. Here is our pollen-bearing parent. You'll want to look for an open flower. It can be difficult to tell if the flower is shedding pollen, so gently shaking the flower can be helpful to see the pollen. Using your tweezers, take a small segment of the anther cone to pollinate the stigma of your fruit-bearing parent. You'll do this by rubbing the outside of the pollen cone onto the stigma of the fruit-bearing parent. Another technique is to sprinkle the pollen over the stigma. You'll want to use the open, shedding pollen parent and tap it over the stigma of the fruit-bearing parent. This technique is helpful if you don't have tweezers. If you're trying to self, you can just flick the flowers without removing the anther cone. Once you make your cross, you will need to make a tag. Here's our tag. We have the pollen parent by the fruit-bearing parent written down, as well as the date of the cross. Now we tie it to the plant and wait for our fruit to develop. Once it develops, we can harvest it and collect the seeds to continue on with our crossing project. Thank you for watching our video and happy crossing!